Well, hello and welcome everybody to the Dad Whisperer. This is my third program and I'm so thrilled that you've taken the time to join in to this conversation that's about fathers and daughters. That's really my sweet spot, but as we know, is things that dads do with their daughters also apply to their sons. So really, whether you're a dad or a daughter or a mom or a son, this is for you. So I guess I should start by saying Happy Halloween. Okay, it's October 31st, and whether or not you like this holiday, I want to just go with it, okay? That's the day. And today, I want to talk to you about tricking or treating. Trick or treat, a new spin on fathering. So I've told you in the last couple episodes that the goal of this program is to equip and inspire and empower fathers because I am your ally. I am coming alongside you, dads, and my heart desire is to equip you with better tools that bring impact, change, and really, honestly, make your relationship with your daughter even better. I just want you to kick it up a notch. That's what this is about. And so today, like every day, it's going to be on your mark, get set, go. On your mark, in case you haven't heard me explain it, it's where all of you dads are on a line. Like think of yourself running a race. On your mark is everybody standing there. Get set is I'm going to fill it in. You're getting ready to run, but then go is the action step. So every single episode, it's going to follow that template so that you can start with a concept and move to action. How does that sound? Okay, good. So today, as we talk about trick or treat, I want to start by telling you a couple Halloween stories. One of them is when I was a little girl. Now, I was born in 1960. So in the 60s, there wasn't the, selection at the stores like there are now. And so my mom and dad, for year after year, for whatever reason, I was like this bohemian girl. They grabbed whatever they had. It was some skirt. My mom had sewn little fake coins onto a scarf and, put a little makeup on my face and coins on my head. And I was off and ready to go. Black beauty mark on the chin. And then always had to have the pillowcase, right? Because then you could get lots of candy. So there's one of the fun stories that I think about when I was little in California doing trick-or-treating with my sister and neighbor kids. And it was super duper fun, right? Because you got lots of candy. By contrast, let me tell you a story about my dad. He grew up with very little parental involvement. Grew up on the south side of Chicago. And again, 7 kids. 3 different dads over the years, not a lot of supervision. And so with my dad growing up with extreme poverty and an alcoholic father, that kind of parental investment in a holiday was not there. And so as my dad has shared stories with me about Halloween, one of them that he has said that stuck with me that is so hilarious to me now is that one of my dad's ongoing outfits, mine was the bohemian girl, my dad's was a box. My dad was a box for Halloween. And what he would say is that he would get a box at the store, he would cut holes for his arms and his legs, and he'd draw buttons on the front. And then he would put his head through the top where he'd cut a hole, and he went as a box. Is that awesome or what? Which brings me again to this topic, is that, as you can tell in both of our stories, what made our outfits come to life was a lack of parental involvement or parental involvement, right? Such a reminder on this day again that when dads dial in and join into the things that their kids are about and care about, it makes a difference. When checked out dads move the other way, it's a completely different story. So there you go. That's starting out today on Halloween with a couple stories in my life. But as we transition now to this on your mark, the topic for today, as I told you, is trick or treat, a new spin on fathering. So we're going to talk about how some of us get the, quote, trick version, right, with our dads, meaning, okay, he's tricking me. I don't know if he's going to be here. I don't know what he means by that. It's leading to confusion. Or I think others get what we would call the treat, the dad that knows what we need, that knows how to give the present, if you will, the treat when you knock on the door, and it's a good thing. And it reminds me of one of my friends, Kevin Renner, wrote a book called In Search of Fatherhood. And here's how he put it. He said, one of my friends once said to him, he's a dad of 2 daughters, do your daughters know that they actually grew the long straw when it comes to fathers? And he said that stuck with him, therefore directing how he organized his book, where he talks about the long straw dads. Did you get a long straw or did you get the short straw? Which basically means we don't have any control, right, over what kind of father we have. But look at, by contrast, you as a father do have control over what kind of dad you are. And that's why my heart as the dad whisperer, I want to come alongside you dads. And as one who's been a clinician now in counseling for 20 years, for 37 years, I counted it, I've been a mentor, this is about entering into the lives of your kids, of your daughters, and understanding what their heart needs so that you can literally change this generation. So today, as we talk about trick or treat, you may hear that at your door tonight. I want a different thought to come to your minds, Dad, as we kind of break apart this topic. Okay, so let's talk about on your mark, we got the topic. Now, this is the get set part of the presentation today, about our conversation today, is when a dad tricks, quote unquote, his daughter. Here's some of what that looks like. It means that dad puts his needs before hers on a regular basis, okay? It also means that a dad tricks his daughter when he teaches her and models to her by the way he interacts with other women that they're less than. You know what I'm talking about? The tone of voice. What kids see sticks with them, right? Because more is caught than taught. So that's a dad who tricks his daughter. He's not modeling healthy interactions with women. Another way that a dad tricks his daughter is he will tease her for being emotional, for being verbal, but that kind of teasing at her actually causes her to put up a wall as like protective shell. Does that make sense? Okay, another thing a dad does who tricks his daughter is he will criticize her mom, which often leads a daughter to believe that the criticism is about her because daughters see their reflection often, yes, in you as dads, right? But they'll look at their moms and say, okay, I have her DNA. And if dad is criticizing mom, I don't want to do that or look like that or be that because then my dad will do that to me. Okay, another way that a dad can trick his daughter, meaning confusing her, causing her to feel less confident in who she really is using her for sexual pleasure and robbing her of her innocence. Now you may go, okay, Michelle, you're getting a little bit raw here. But you guys, that's my desire, is to really talk honestly and authentically about the father-daughter relationship that impacts other relationships. So there you go. I think that probably goes without saying that is a dad who tricks his daughter. Another thing, a dad who tricks his daughter will contribute to the exploitation of women through his engagement with pornography. That's another way that a dad confuses his daughter. Because I have heard more stories than I can count where kids have either found, back in the day, paper material, magazines that were pornography, in dad's, closet in the top or tucked under the bed, or now in this day and age, it's in screens, right? It's that kids come upon that which their dad has been looking at. Causes great confusion, to say the least. And finally, a dad who tricks his daughter will make her never trust God as a father because she can't trust dad as her earthly father. Now, you may go, oh, Michelle, you're starting out this program so heavy. But you guys track with me because I'm going to end with the good news. But being honest is addressing those things straight up because that's what we're going to do, right? On the Dad Whisper, I want to talk with you honestly about the real things going on in real homes. Okay, does that make sense? So I want to tell you a story right here. If you're just joining us, I'm Dr. Michelle Watson, the Dad Whisperer, and my heart and my passion is to help dads kick it up a notch and be better equipped to pursue intentionally and consistently their daughters' hearts. So I want to tell you a story this week about a daughter who, I guess you could say, felt tricked this week by her dad, and she gave me permission to share this story. So she sent me an email and said, I just got your book, and here's the long story. And she went into detail, and I'll give it to you in a nutshell. But she said that she wasn't sure between two men which dad was her father all these years. She's known both men. One has been in prison most of his life, the other one not. One of them 23 years in prison, and this woman is 32. And she said that her dad, the one that she just found out was her dad, her biological father, who has been in prison, just agreed to do a DNA test, and sure enough, she found out for the first time in her life who her real dad is. Can you imagine just the way her heart is leaping to go, that's my dad? And she said, we look alike, and it was really good for my heart. But she said to me that one of the problems has been that she's not asking him for anything. She's just wanting to have some of his time. That was it. And she said he, at this point, this is a couple weeks ago, lived 6 hours from her. And she said, I even told him, I'll drive to you every weekend on my dime. And she said, I've tried everything I can do to connect with him. Everything from sending him articles, gifts, a scrapbook of my life. I sent him 30 Father's Day cards. I've talked to his family about him being standoffish, but all to no avail. And she said, it's better. At least he's having some communication with me. But she says, I want more. And then her last 4 words were, can you help me? Oh, my word. Here I am going, okay, can I help you? So as she and I began to write back and forth, and I said, okay, hon, here's what I wonder. Could you offer to your dad, who's now out of prison, right? Could you offer him this idea that I've had work with other dads and adult daughters, is where each of you have a copy of my book. Dad, here's what I really need from you, a guide for connecting with your daughter's heart. Could you get that book where both of you are reading a couple chapters, either once a week or every other week, and then you get together and you have a template to go by? I said, because I continue to find that men would rather do nothing than do it wrong, right? And so I say, but doing nothing is doing it wrong. And so in order to do it right, I want to put a template, dads, in front of you. And I have date questionnaires in the back of the book where you can read them as is and open up a deeper, more meaningful conversation with your daughter, because you're going to find out what's really going on inside, deep down inside of her. So she said, that is a great idea. I said, I'll send him a book. She said, nope, I'll get it. And she was so excited. So she asked him, and she said, hopefully he'll agree to read it with me. She said, he's admitted to doing nothing or backing away from me because of what you just said. He doesn't want to mess anything up because he said he loves me. But she said, I told him that doesn't work. I've told him that the only reason why I am still in this is because God told me that it would be worth it. And because she said, Lord knows, I wanted to give up several times, but God told me to hang in there. So look at this brave young woman, even at 32 years of age. Are you hearing that, dads? That a daughter never stops longing for a relationship with her dad. And so this conversation between she and I has gone on this week. So what ended up happening is she wrote me yesterday and said, unfortunately, he just is back in prison. He had just been out on parole for a while, and now he's back, and I can't talk to him for 30 days. And oh my word, you guys, even over email, I could just hear how her heart dropped. I guess you could put it that way. And she says, he violated his parole. And she said, I'm so angry at him. She said, how could he? She goes, I trust God, but right now I don't understand. She said, what was this all for? I find out he's my dad. I try everything to build this relationship, and I was just starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And now he has to go back to prison for 8 months. And so I wrote back and said, honey bunny, I am grieving with you because I know you want a heart relationship with your dad. You need it. You want it. And what I wrote back to her was, I said, I hope you do not believe the lie of the enemy that would ever cause you to think that the reason your dad went back to prison was because you weren't enough, that you weren't worthy enough of him staying clean and staying out, that you weren't valuable enough. Because the truth is, I believe that when your dad looks at you, he is reminded of himself, and he sees that he is flawed. He sees that he's a disappointment to you. And we wrote back and forth. I said, it would break my heart if you believed that lie about yourself. Because I said to her, and more importantly, you have to know that God, your Father's heart, is breaking too. One of my favorite verses is Isaiah 63:9 that says, where God says, in all their distress, he too was distressed. I said, your Abba Father cares deeply about this story. He cares deeply about your pain. So I wanted to share that story with you a little bit. She told me that she hopes this helps someone who understands that a daughter longs for her relationship with her dad, regardless of her age. And she always wants to have a relationship with him and give him the benefit of the doubt, even though at times her heart wall wants to go up because it hurts too much. So let me just stop here for a minute and say, if you're just joining this conversation, I'm Dr. Michelle Watson, the Dad Whisperer, and I'm so glad that you've joined today. And I'm a counselor by trade. I've done that for 20 years. I'm an author of a book called Dad, Here's What I Really Need From You, a guide for connecting with your daughter's heart. You can go to my website, drmichellewatson.com, where I've got free resources for you. I write an every other week Dad Daughter Friday blog you can sign up for. Or you can write me at drmichelle@thedadwhisperer.com. Send me questions you have. Tell me things that are going well with your daughters. Tell me things you want me to talk about on the air, because this is about a conversation and it goes both ways. And I want to give you practical tools that actually in your toolbox, your fathering toolbox, you can take out and see make a difference. That's why every single program I want to end with a practical go step. On your mark, get set, go, that lets you put your fathering heart into action. So just if you're joining us, let me remind you, today, the On Your Mark topic is trick or treat, a new spin on fathering. Now I'm filling in the get set part so you have the action tools. You understand from head to heart why these things are important. And then go is about taking steps to put your heart of love for your daughter into action. So now let's move into the good news. We've talked about the trick part of trick-or-treating as a dad, where you're tricking or confusing your daughter, giving her mixed messages. But now we're going to talk about the treat part, a dad that not only treats his daughter well, but gives her a treat of his time, his presence, his affirmation. So let's end with the positive, shall we? Okay, here are some ways that a dad can positively, quote unquote, treat his daughter so that she can internalize how he sees her. A dad who treats his daughter well. Okay, here goes. You ready? He will tell her every day, not only that he loves her, but why he loves her. And I'm going to tell you at the end, or challenge you dads, to pick one thing in this list to put into action. Okay, you get extra bonus points if you do it by midnight tonight, okay? But every week from Monday to Monday, I'm giving you practical action steps. So as I'm listing these, I want you to be thinking about which one or two would work for you to do today. And the reason I say today is so that you don't forget. If you're like me, maybe it's just age, I don't know, or honestly, I think it's we have so much coming into our brains all the time. It's easy to forget, even if we don't want to. And that's why I want to encourage you to put these things into action today, okay? So a dad who treats his daughter well will tell her every day not only that he loves her, but why he loves her, okay? Number two, a dad who treats his daughter well will notice the things that have meaning to her and then share in them with her. Does that make sense? You're noticing where she lights up. Is it makeup, or is it clothing, or is it friends, or is it books, or is it computer time? And then you come up with ways to connect with her. Hey, could I buy you a book? Could we read a book together? Hey, can I take you to the mall? And I'm going to, just for no reason, I'm going to treat you to something special today that you would love. Let's go to H&M, let's go somewhere, it's moderately, good prices there, and find one thing, make a memory. A dad who treats his daughter well notices the things that matter to her, okay? He also provides for her needs, right? So a dad that's providing, letting his daughter know that her basic needs are taken care of. Another one is a dad who treats his daughter well will be available to connect with her at an emotional level. So emotional might be we're laughing together 1 minute, and the next minute you're drying her tears. Again, never mocking them, but you're treating her special by letting her know that her unique wiring is something that she had no control over, right? God did that. And that is beautiful, even though at times you're like, I don't understand her. I have no idea why she's making a mountain out of this molehill. But you're just affirming her and saying, I can understand why that would be hard, honey. And that's all you have to say. Do you know how far that would go to you being a hero for her? I promise you, you will gain a lot of momentum in your relationship if that's all you say. Now, you might think that's not enough, but a daughter says, he gets me, my dad cares. Another way that you as a dad can treat your daughter well is that you love her mom. You model to her that love on planet Earth from a husband to a wife, or if you're a dad who's divorced, from a father to his ex-wife or a dad to his girl's mama, even if you were never married, is that the way you speak positively about her mom and make careful, intentional decisions not to tear mom down, Dad, that is gonna go far. Because remember, more is caught than taught, and she's listening to you. Another way that a dad can treat his daughter well is that he affirms her positive qualities. Now, I've had daughters say, I know my dad loves me, but I never hear why. I never hear what about me he loves. I love how Proverbs 18:21 says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. So, Dad, you can either breathe life with your tongue, what you say into your daughter's life, or you can speak words that tear her down and cause her to feel dead, quote unquote, inside. Affirm her positive qualities. Dad, if you want to treat your daughter well today, gently and lovingly, those are the key words, set boundaries and limits for her. That you're teaching her to respect herself, her wiring, her pace, so that she has what she needs to invest in the world around her. So you treat her well by giving her limits and boundaries. I know, she might not like them, but it's again, did you catch the words? Lovingly, there's key words, lovingly and gently. It's a tender kind of conversation with her that sets the boundaries, not at the height where you're both yelling them, but you got to all cool off and then address it later. Here's another way that a dad can treat his daughter well, is you listen twice as much as you talk. You listen twice as much as you talk. That's why you have two ears, right? And one mouth. I love James 1:19. It says, lead with your ears, follow up with your tongue, and let anger straggle in the rear. So you're really leading in treating her well by the way you listen. Another way you can treat your daughter well is you pursue her heart by actively spending time with her to let her know that she really matters. She's worth knowing. Pursue her heart and say, hun, can we have time this week? Even if it's I pick you up from school and we grab a coffee on the way home or a fun Jamba Juice or whatever, but finding a way to connect and being creative, because I think, honestly, it's getting harder and harder to find time, right, with dads and daughters because the pace of life is so busy these days. Another way that you as a dad can treat your daughter well is enjoy the uniqueness of her personality by laughing at what makes her laugh, right? Again, weep with those who weep, rejoice with those who rejoice. You're living out biblical truth as you do that. You can also treat your daughter well by doing fun activities together. Find a way to do fun things out of the ordinary. Go to iFly, go to the mall, do something that just changes up the mundane living together. You can also, and here's the last one I want to say, is the way you can treat your daughter well is that you build a bridge to her heart for her to trust and connect with and feel positively about God as a father, because she's saying, you know what? My earthly dad is trustworthy, connectable. I don't even know if that's a word, and invested. Then I know my dad in heaven is. In fact, I want to end with a story that really brings that beautiful truth to home. And it was one of my friends, Sarah, posted this on Facebook a few months ago. And she put a picture of her 3-year-old daughter, Addie, with a hat on. The rain is pouring down and Daddy's holding her. And you can just see clearly that they're both sopping wet. And what she wrote was, we got caught in a huge thunderstorm in New York City, and flash flood warnings alerted us on our phones. And she said Addie was the only one of our 3 kiddos not covered in the stroller, but she loved getting drenched. And then she said she keeps talking about it to Tom, Daddy. And here's what she said. We were in the rain together and you held me. Oh my word, does that touch your heart? She said, Daddy, we were in the rain together and you held me. And I'm saying, dads, you hold your daughters differently at different ages, but your daughter knows when you're holding her emotional space, you're holding her physically, you're holding things in your home as safe places for her. And today I've given you a list of a lot of ways that today on Halloween, you don't want to be obviously a dad who tricks his daughter and gives missed messages and confuses her. You want to be a dad who treats his daughter well. So I hope that today has been a creative twist and spin on the concept of bring on the treats, as you are a dad that chooses one thing and hopefully even in the next 24 hours puts your heart love for your daughter into action. So let me close with summary. Today, On Your Mark is Trick or Treat, a new spin on fathering. Getting Set is saying I've given you ways that you can either trick or treat your daughter well. And the Go section, the Go marker, the Go challenge is pick one of those things, get out there today, and affirm your daughter's worth and value to you. And let me know how it goes. Write me at Dr. Michelle at thedadwhisperer.com. If you want more resources, just go to my website, drmichellewatson.com. And I look forward to connecting with you as we continue this conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time today to listen in. And I want to end with 2 words, Go Dads.